If we play at our best, we will beat every team in this fucking league playing at their best. So who's it on? Whose shoulders does it fall on? Ours. We affect how this thing turns out, don't we? And it starts with training camp. We got to have a great goddamn training camp, man. Last year, hey, we were under the radar. That's a good place to be. Fuck that. The best place to be is when expectations are high. Get used to it. It's always going to be that way. And now let's go out and prove everybody right. We know we're better than you. We don't give a fuck if you know it or not. We don't give a shit if you give us your best game. We're going to give you our best game, and we're going to beat the fuck out of you. How's that? Let's go get it.
Welcome, everybody. We are back to the ImJustSayin Podcast. It's episode 5. Happy 4th of July to everybody. Thank you for tuning back in. And we aren't under the radar anymore. Okay? We are up. Send the word out that we up. Shout out to Idris for that one. Yeah, it's going to be a great show for you guys today. We're just going to keep it simple. It's summertime. Everyone's chilling. Not a whole lot of news. So I'm going to go through a bunch of the little bit of stuff that came up. But, you know, there's really not much on the agenda. So I can sit here and talk about whatever the hell I want to. So unfortunately for you guys, that means you get to take a deep dive into my brain, which is, it's a wild place. But thank you for tuning into it nonetheless. Let's get into it. Chiefsaholic has finally been caught by the FBI. We got him. Chiefsaholic is no more. Well, he is more, but he no longer has a secret identity. Don't have his name in front of me, which is just horrible broadcasting, but the FBI got him, man. Good to see America's resources being put to the best possible places. I know that he was a supervillain. He was creating havoc, causing mayhem, stealing money, robbing banks, going to Chiefs games. I know I can't even imagine that one. No, I'm just kidding. Arrowhead would be great. But Chiefsaholic is not going to be allowed to just find himself in the 200 section of the Chiefs Stadium anymore. So let's all take a moment of silence for Chiefsaholic and his great career as a super fan of the Kansas City Chiefs. Moment of silence. All right, just had to show our respect to that man. Hopefully he rots in jail well. I could care less about him after that. But the whole Chiefsaholic thing, crazy story. If you didn't know, the guy robbed a goddamn bank. I somehow he had to rob a bank, but he was able to afford Chiefs tickets every weekend for years. So, you explained that one to me. I don't really know how he got into crime, but nonetheless, he's a criminal now. So, shout out to the FBI. You know, it's great that, instead of investigating Homeland Security or, international espionage, the FBI is making sure that Chiefsaholic can never go to a game or rob a bank again. But you know what? You do the crime, you do the time. So that's on you at the end of the day, Chiefsaholic, and you will be missed by very few people. I was just sitting there thinking today, we are getting closer and closer and closer and closer to football season. We're all trying not to lose our goddamn minds, waiting for it to get here. And I had this thought, college football is in a weird spot right now. It's an exciting year because all of your names are gone. No Trevor Lawrence. DJ Uyunglele sucks. No Bryce Young. No CJ Stroud. And there's a bunch of these young guys that we haven't really seen, other than for a small sample size. except for the main guy, Caleb Williams, and Caleb Williams is phenomenal. Caleb Williams is a fantastic football player. But with all the uncertainty at the quarterback position, I mean, we're going to talk about it a little bit later, but around me, South Carolina football is the end all be all. And Spencer Rattler, I've even seen in some graphics of some idiot SEC network employee who put Spencer Rattler as could he be the best quarterback in the country or the SEC. And I wanted to spit in their face. As much as I want Spencer Rattler to be fantastic, he has been abysmal much more than he's been amazing. So you got to give him credit for what he did. Those 3 games at the end of the year, great. But I don't see somebody like that taking over the reins, from a guy like Caleb Williams. And he's going to play in the pass-happy Pac-12. He's got Lincoln Riley. But let's look at some of these other names and maybe see if we could have anybody even push for it. So the first one to me that comes to mind is Drake May from North Carolina. And I love watching Drake May play. He's just a tall, skinny dude. He almost looks perfectly made for North Carolina. He's just like a skinny white dude. I have no idea. I've never seen anything about him, but I'm going to stereotype him. He looks like just like the richest white kid who's also happens to be really good at sports. And, of course, he went to North Carolina, which is the perfect place for the melding of all of those characteristics. And, he's got a lot of potential, but if you look at that team, North Carolina, they don't scare you really anywhere. They have Drake May. They have some weapons. They always usually have 1 or 2 guys who at least maybe not end up in the NFL, but get a crack. But they don't scare you anywhere. And the team is probably not going to be all that good. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. College football people tell me I'm wrong. But I don't see him really taking away from Caleb Williams. I mean, you've got Quinn Ewers at Texas. Again, Texas. Like, are they back? Because apparently every year they're back, and they never end up back at the end of the year. Ever. With Sark, with Charlie Strong, with whoever. So, I don't know if I believe in him. You've got kids at unknown schools, like the kid from Ohio State. I swear to God, I couldn't even tell you his name off the top of my head right now. But he's phenomenal. I believe he's a freshman or starting. All right, great radio right here. Kyle McCord. This kid is supposed to be the truth. I've never seen him play football before. And I'm sure the only people who have seen him play football before are the diehards who sat in the horseshoe and got slobbered and watched the spring game. So I have no idea if that guy's going to be any good. Same thing with Georgia. They have one of these kids coming in, Carson Beck, who is supposed to, he looks like would be a good college football quarterback. He looks like it. I have no idea. But he plays for Georgia, so he's got to be pretty good. So you'd think. There's just so much uncertainty in college football this year. It's very exciting, honestly. I like it when a college football year you come in and you don't really know too much about it. You start to fall. That's the beauty of college football. You get swept up. You get swept up in the tradition and the songs and the music and the chants and the colors and the tailgating and the food, and you get swept up with these guys who have these runs, and some people go from people who you've never heard of them in your life to all of a sudden to be like a first-round NFL pick and be a great guy. You rally. It's not like, as much as I love the NFL, you don't have that rally around. Certain cities do, like big cities like Pittsburgh has it, and New England has it, and Kansas City definitely has it. But not everyone has that rally around the community thing that college football has in spades. They have almost too much of it sometimes, where it's just like tradition. Think about it. People send their kids to these schools over and over and over again, like where you have 3, 4, 5 generations of the same family going to the same place, and they're all rooting for him like they've never even thought about rooting for another team for their entire life, which I love. That's fantastic. I love being a diehard just as much as anybody. I've never rooted for anyone else but the Steelers in the NFL in my life. So it's cool, but that's what I love about college football. I love seeing these guys go from nobody to somebody really quick. We all fall in love with them. I mean, look at Lamar. No, I mean, maybe there was buzz around Lamar. I'm sure if there was, it wasn't for what anyone, like, no one could have predicted what he did. I mean, the kid was electric to watch, and you fell in love with this guy as he goes on this magical run. He wins the Heisman. He almost beats Clemson in Clemson. And this guy, then he goes to the NFL. He just keeps doing the same thing. And he was one of those guys that probably, like, you know, that's why college football is special, because you see these dudes, especially from the no-name schools, that just go banana lands, and all of a sudden you're a superstar. But it's a weird time. I have no idea who's playing where. We're going to find out. It's going to make betting on these games. We're going to have to start doing some research here. I'm sure, summer ball is going on. Practices are going on for these guys. And we're not that far away. I think week 0 is like August, maybe the first weekend of September or last weekend of August. So, like, we are not, I think we're less than 80 days away from football, which is, it's crazy, guys. It's crazy. But I'm here for it. I'm glad it's back. Next up on the thing, leading into it, let's do a little bit of South Carolina football schedule talk. I mentioned it earlier when I was talking about Spencer Rattler. The South Carolina Gamecocks are the talk of the town down here in Columbia. And there's a lot of optimism. When I went on, I'll kind of go over some of the same stuff, but I recorded an episode last week that got corrupted, so I apologize for that. But I went on this rant about South Carolina football, and, South Carolina football fans, I didn't end up graduating from USC, but I did go there for more than anywhere else, so that's who I root for in college football. And I'll root for them. I'll root for them all season long. As soon as we start tailgating, a couple beers flowing, a couple Busch Lights, a couple Bojangles teas, whatever you're into, I will be as diehard as anybody. I will. But college football takes time to build success. You cannot expect somebody to come in and completely change your program in 1-2 years to where you're a national championship contender, especially in a tough conference to play like the SEC, especially in South Carolina, where you're positioned next to Clemson, Georgia, Tennessee. You're fighting all these bigger schools than you for talent and recruiting, because all these guys want to go to the best, and you're not always the best. So I think what Shane Beamer has done in his first couple of years as the coach is remarkable. And I don't think that there shouldn't be optimism around the team. However, we're starting to see these guys who come out of the woodwork who are like, all right, it's time, baby. It's time. USC, Sandstorm, all that shit. I love it. I do. It's fun. We have some of the best traditions in the country. I guarantee it. The problem is, and I'm going to start by talking about Spencer Rattler once again. Like I said before, this kid was terrible through the first half of the season last year. I mean, he was atrocious. And he has 3 great games at the end of the year. Don't take those away from him. I mean, fantastic games from Spencer Rattler. Played the games of his life. Demolished that Tennessee defense. Demolished that Clemson defense. Had a lot of big plays. The problem is, if I look at him as a whole, I go, ooh, wow, great radio there. I see a lot of holes. A lot of holes. And in the SEC, every little hole matters a great, great deal. We lose a lot of talent in the secondary on defense. We lose more talent up front. Jordan Birch transfers to Oregon, so you're losing one of your former top recruits. You know, I get that we're replacing them with others, and I'm sure the recruiting train. I don't know what their recruiting rankings are this year, but I know they're pretty good. Let's see here. Let's check this out. 17th and 16th in overall and composite ranking for this website that I just pulled up. So, I mean, a middle of the pack, top 25 recruiting class. They're going to have some guys. They really are. You know, they got that Harbor kid who's gigantic and runs like 4.3. But I gotta see it from South Carolina. And let's dive into the schedule specifically, and I'll be able to show you what I mean a little bit here. And they start the season off at a neutral site game against North Carolina, a game that South Carolina traditionally wins. And I'll give it to them as a win if I'm going through the schedule picking wins here way too early. But I was talking to a friend of mine about this recently. This is a game that South Carolina traditionally loses. It's a tradition. I mean, not to contradict myself. Technically, they traditionally win this. But when South Carolina has some hype behind them, they go into a game, they think they should be able to win, and they take it off, especially opening week of the season. You know, it might not get them as much, but neutral site, there's a lot of excitement around the program. Everyone's hyped up. First game, you're playing arguably one of the best top 3 quarterbacks in the country in Drake May, like I was talking about earlier. And you could get caught. You could easily get caught sleeping in a game like that. Do I think they will? Not necessarily. I think they probably get it done in this game, but this is a game that I could see South Carolina losing and then fans revolting against Shane Beamer already in week 1 because they lose a game like this to a team who they perceive as not very good. Again, really great quarterback. We're getting younger. You never know. Furman at home, that's a win. Then you go to probably the hardest part of the schedule for South Carolina. You go on the road to Georgia, which that's a loss. So that's 2-1. I'm giving that a loss. You never know. It could happen, but that's just a game I'll never be able to pick, South Carolina over Georgia going into it. I'll root for it. I want it to happen. Please, please let it happen. But I got to see it first. Mississippi State at home. I've seen a lot of mixed opinions about Mississippi State this year. I'm going to give South Carolina the win, especially if they get mollywopped by Georgia, which is usually what happens. So I'm going to give them the win there. And then they go back on the road to Tennessee, their second hardest opponent, arguably right there. And I think that might be another mollywopping. So those are 2 games where if South Carolina is the real deal, you compete in those games at least. Do I think that we could compete? I think we will compete more, especially in the Georgia game, more than usual. I don't think it'll be a 50-point blowout like it usually is. But I could, I still think that they will win decisively by 10 or 15 points. So, say what you will. I think that's a win. Honestly, if you look at South Carolina, I think that's a win for South Carolina as a program who, you want to get wins against those guys, but you got to start somewhere. You got to build up the hope in your players. And I think Beamer has done that, but we have to wait and see. Then you go back home and play a Florida team who is supposed to be terrible this year. That should be a win, but again, that's a game, coming off a loss, especially if we beat Tennessee on the road. If we beat Tennessee on the road, come back to Florida, come back home to play Florida, that is a classic South Carolina lay an egg game. I'll give them a dub in that. So if I'm going back through it, I've got 1-0 against North Carolina, 2-0 against Furman, 2-1 against Georgia, 3-1 against Mississippi State, 3-2 against Tennessee, 4-2 against Florida. I'll give them the win on the road against Missouri. That's 5-2. Then Texas A&M, again, another team I've heard a lot of mixed things about this year. Obviously, they were atrocious last year. On the road at Kyle Field, could be a night game. I will give them the W. So that is 1, 2, and 1, 3 and 1, 3 and 2, 4 and 2, 5 and 2, 6 and 2. Jacksonville State smattering. That's 7-2. Vanderbilt they beat 8-2. Kentucky at home, a game they traditionally win. That's 9-2 going into the Clemson game, who they have at home. And honestly, if I could see them winning 2 of their big games, I obviously it happened last year, but I would still say Clemson is, you've got more of a chance at Clemson at home than Georgia on the road. Clemson is another team with Cade Klubnik I don't necessarily trust. And aside from him, there's a bunch of uncertainty. So you really just don't know what's going to happen over there. I mean, Cade will play, but you have no idea if it'll work or if it won't. But yeah, so that's 9-2 going into the Clemson game. And I think, again, the Clemson game, we win in a close one last year. I think no problem at all. You compete again this year. I think it'll be a good game, which is fun. It's fun. And for people that are not from South Carolina, let me fill you in on something here. The state of South Carolina turns blood red in late November. The week after Thanksgiving is always the week, rivalry week in the NCAA. And if you have not, been in a good rivalry in a while and you're trying to check out a rivalry, folks, let me tell you, the people down here that go to these two schools do not like each other. And I don't like the Clemson kids. My grandparents lived 10 minutes away from there, and I never in my entire life wanted to go there because most of the people that go there suck ass. They're just pompous. They do nothing. And they're just the most annoying. Yeah. As soon as they do anything slightly good, they just shit down your fucking throat. Just in your face. I mean, I remember back in the day when Taj Boyd was the quarterback for the Clemson Tigers. People thought he was Jesus incarnate and was going to take them to the Super Bowl. I mean, the Super Bowl, the national championship game. He still walks around in the area and just does he just goes hey, whoa. People love that guy. He was not good. He was fine. He was a good college quarterback. They thought he would change the Jets. That's hilarious. Of course not. But, we're not much better. And they attack us. They provoke us. They come after us. Obviously, it's been a beating here up until of recent, historically. But if you look at the rosters, the tides might be a-turning. And let me tell you, when I said earlier, the state turns blood red, that's with literal blood from violence, from internet violence, from fucking tweets. They come after you. The Clemson fans will find you on a dark corner of the internet and bully you if they get a chance. Which, when you're winning is fine. But all the time, and especially when you suck ass, calm down, because it's not always going to be like that. And you know what? All you're doing is provoking yourself to have us shit right back down your throat, just like we did last year when you pussies didn't even put up the score after the game. Go Cox. I'm going to predict 10-2 with a win over Clemson. And I think that is it's obviously the best season South Carolina has had in years. I think even if they finish 8-4, it is a win this season. But I will say 10-2 right here. This is a personal list for all the haters out there, all the friends that I have that shit down my throat for telling them that we're not going to be this good this year. I'm telling you, the door is open for 10-2. There is no reason that this team cannot go 10-2. But, or there's plenty of reasons why they won't go 10-2, but like there's no reason why they shouldn't go 10-2. But if they end up somewhere like 8-4, which I honestly think could happen, no problem. It won't be that hard. I think that's still a win for the program. You know? I think it's still a win. Call me an idiot. Call me a loser. I don't care. Go Cox. 10-2. And, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, it's even better than that. If they go to the national championship and win, I'll duct tape a chicken's head to my ass and run around downtown Columbia, and I'll film it. I'll put it on the internet. Who cares? It's never going to happen. I hope it does. Never going to happen. Let's take a quick break. Today's episode is sponsored by, and before you come after me and go, oh, you made 4 episodes. You have 7 views on YouTube. Chill out. Go with me on this. Lord have mercy. Today's episode is sponsored by the worst chair of all time. Everyone, this chair right here, this piece of shit is the worst fucking chair of all time. Basically, all it does at this point is caress my butt in a way I don't allow or want. I'm basically a greater than 90-degree angle to the ground. So this chair is made for someone who's 5'6" and weighs 130 pounds, which I am not, right? But I'm a cheap motherfucker, and I get the job done. This chair is horrible. This thing just spins around constantly. You can never get it to stay in one place. I have to sit up forward the entire time. I'm slouching like a motherfucker. My back cries out for help at the end of the episode. But you know what? God damn it gets me in the chair. It gets me talking to you guys. So I guess maybe it's not the worst chair of all time. I won't link it in the description because I'm not getting paid by them to sell this to you. I'm not selling it to you. I'm actually telling you it's terrible. So, thanks for the break. We'll get back to the episode right now. And I'm going to talk about the boys for a second. And the boys are not America's team. The boys are not locked up in a train car somewhere in the woods. I'm talking about the boys, meaning my boys, the Pittsburgh Steelers. And there is a rumbling going on the internet right now. Can you hear it? That's the horses. Here come the horses, baby. The cavalry is coming. The hype train is rolling on. And if you want to get on, that's fine. But hear me out. Hear me out. Because I have a problem. I have a problem with people shitting on the Steelers over and over and over and over and over again. Over and over and over and over again. And then we get to an off season. And they win 9 games. They don't make it to the playoffs because of some BS. Because Joe Flacco probably wanted to spite us. He didn't push the Jets over the finish line. But for guys like Colin Cowherd and all of a sudden to get on here, there's this one guy at Fox who I swear to God every day he has a new Steelers dick riding thing. And I love it, but I don't want it. I don't want it. And let me tell you why. I don't want the internet to support my team. I want to be on an island by myself. I've been taking grenades left and right. I'm getting out of the way. I'm dodging. I'm weaving. I'm trying to make sure that nothing goes wrong, right? I'm trying to stay alive. I'm trying to make it through because we had a down year last year. Although people thought we'd win like 3 games, I fucking told you we wouldn't. I told you we'd be better than that. You're an idiot for thinking anything else. However, didn't think we would be a contender like we always were with Big Ben. And even the last couple of years there, I was kind of delusional to think we were a contender. But TJ Watt in the playoffs really, got me going there for a second. I thought maybe. I want to be under the radar for once in my life. It's going to be fantastic. No one is giving us our respect. And all of a sudden, people are giving us flowers. They're starting to go, oh, Tomlin. Oh, Deontay Johnson. Oh, Fryer Muth. They win the draft. Steelers. And now I got people saying, oh, maybe they'll win the division. What are you doing? Guys, the Steelers are good. I know they're good. But I don't want everyone to tell everyone. Let them think that we're bad. Let them think it. I can't wait to ride through week 1, win a game against a team that no one thinks that we can beat. People think Brock Purdy is better than Kenny Pickett. I can't wait to sit here and say, guess what I said? I said, watch out. I said, watch out. I said, watch out for Kenny Pickett. I said, watch out for Deontay Johnson. I said, watch out for Najee Harris. And you didn't listen to me. You did not listen to me. I want to sit on my ivory tower that I have made through my mind and go, look at me. Eat my dick. I want to be on the top of the Eiffel Tower going, fuck you, you doubting son of a bitch. You thought Kenny Pickett was a bust. You thought Najee Harris was a bust. You thought Mike Tomlin should get fired. You're a bust. You're a bust. We're not going anywhere. And we may not be contenders this year. We may not be contenders next year. But I think, honestly, maybe not next year, but the year after that, we're going to be fucking dangerous. And you guys are not going to be ready for it. You won't be ready for me at the top, okay? You won't be ready for what I have when I'm sitting at the top, when I'm hoisting the Lombardi trophy, when Najee Harris is embracing me in his arms as the confetti falls and I cry in front of my family like a little bitch. It's going to be glorious. And I got all these Fox analysts ruining it. I want it to be, I know we're good. Don't tell me I don't think we're good. I know we're good. I know we are great. I know Kenny Pickett, unlike Spencer Rattler, who was abysmal and had 3 good performances, Kenny Pickett, as soon as he came in the lineup, gave the team some energy, number one. Number one, that's what you got to do as a rookie quarterback. You got to give your team some energy. Number 2, he opened up the offense, gave them more options. If you're going to be starting in your first year, you need to make a difference. Kenny Pickett made a difference immediately. Offense seemed totally different with him under center. Number 3, you have to improve week by week. And I think there is no better example than Kenny Pickett. There is no better example. The kid is working. He's getting married. He's becoming a man right before our eyes. I keep seeing things. I keep seeing these idiots on the internet saying, in the AFC North, one of the best divisions of football, but if you look at quarterback, even if Kenny Pickett is way better than expectations, it's what's his name, Lamar, it's Joe Burrow, and it's Deshaun, and then there's a mile of dirt, and then there's Kenny Pickett. I can't wait. I can't wait to send you the clips and just laugh. And just laugh. Because that's what it's all about. We're all having fun here. We're having fun. And Kenny Pickett is fun, and he is good. I've seen the greatness in him. The wins will come. George Pickens. Do I need to say anything? No, I don't. No, I do not. I rest my case. But if you're going to get on the bandwagon, you better stay on. I don't want to see any jumpers. That's all I'm saying. Don't build us up just to be nothing. I don't want to see jumpers. Because if it gets rough, you will jump. You will jump. And we're going to change that. So I'll shut up. But I really, I believe in this team a lot. And I want to be unknown. I just do. I just do. I don't care. You know? I don't know what to say. Last thing I got here is just a little local hour here. Local meaning myself this time. Myself. The golf game is, I may not look like it, boys, but I am, just like everybody else, it's the summer of golf, and your boy is cooking. Didn't go today. Weather wasn't the greatest. Thought about it. Could have. But I said, nope, I got to get a pot out for all my beautiful listeners. So you're welcome. Great guy by me. No. Last week we broke through with an 85. First time breaking 90 in a century. Finally did it. We're striking the ball purely. I'm hitting my driver right down the fairway, even though it's 10 years old. Which is crazy that my driver's almost 10 years old at this point. You don't think about something lasting for that long, but it has. And your boy's putting up low scores. Even on vacation, I hit 89, 89. We're putting. I'm moving my hands forward a little bit. I'm doing one of these. I'm getting my hands kind of pushing them forward like this so that the club face, if this is the ground, my club face was kind of sitting up, and I wanted to sit more like that. I'm hitting the most solid putts I've hit in a long time. I'm chipping in randomly. I'm getting a little luck. Shot 95 or something the other day, but that's just, golf is brutal, It's a streaky-ass game. And I told this to my buddy, right before I did it, which is crazy. Golf is a streaky sport. You'll be going, sitting there going, and then you'll just level off where you seem like you can't do any better. And all of a sudden you break through, and you break the plateau, and you go whoop. And then you plateau a little bit, you go whoop. You just got to keep with it, man. Swing hard, swing slow. I don't give a fuck. If it works for you, it works for you. There's nothing more annoying than those motherfuckers who look like an anthill and still outdrive you, snipe pins like it's their job. There's nothing more annoying. But hey, you know what? You play with them. You get better. You learn from every person out there. You learn from every time out there. You learn to play the course. All of a sudden, you put a little thing together, a bada bing, a bada boom, and all of a sudden, you're hitting low, gentlemen. You're hitting low. Go out there, crush some brews. If your state allows it, do some other things. Allegedly. And get out on the golf course. Enjoy the sunshine. It's so nice out right now this time of year. It's beautiful. Go live your life. Enjoy the world. And come back to me next week and stay tuned for another episode. Hit that subscribe button, everyone. I just want to thank you again for coming in and enjoying a day with me. A little short pod, I know. Once we have football and more news and stuff coming through the pipeline all the time, I'll be more consistent with getting out a longer episode, and I'll clip this up and put it on all my socials, so I'll make sure you guys see it. You're not getting away from me. I'm going to find you. And we're going to get you a clip. I hope everyone has a great week. I'm going to try to. You do the same, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you.